Okay, guys, I'm just going to pick up from where we left off last week. I hope you're all doing well and minding yourselves and taking care of each other and the older people in your families. So Thursday was the last day there. We did that question. That was question 8. That was question 8, 2019, paper 1. Now, just to give an overall view actually where we are. So if you just look here on the contents library on the left-hand side, this is your OneNote. You all have access to this at home. If you don't or you can't get it, just send me an email and I'll try and help you out. Studying maths. So if you look at studying maths there, let's go there. And the exam revision chart. This is our like master chart that I'm working off, okay? And the blue is kind of what we've corrected. Indeed, we've corrected, let's see, there's another bit there that we've corrected this question. So I'm going to look today at question 11 and 13. These are graphs and functions. And then for homework, I will be giving you these questions, okay? And then the next night, these. Now, as I explained to you before, we will be, first of all, concentrating very much on those questions to 2019, 2018, 2017. And the rest of them, they're all in your papers and you can go ahead and do all of them. I would suggest that you get as much as possible done between now and June. And you get stuck on any question at all, you just email me with the question and I will get back to you about it, okay? So back to what we're going to look at here today. So we're going to look at question 11 and 13, 2009, paper 1. So back to January to Easter, paperwork, and here we are. Okay, that was question 8 from 2019. As I said, we did that in class. Now, here we are today, question 11. Okay, Rory has a weekend job. His total pay per day is a fixed rate plus tips. The tips are a percentage of the customer spend. The graph below shows Rory's total pay per day depending on the customer spend. R is his total pay day. So total pay per day in euro, and S is the, so R, total spend, his total pay per day in euro, and S is the customer spend in hundreds of euro. So let's look at the first question here. What is Rory's fixed rate per day? His pay when the customer spend is 0. So when this customer spend, we have to take our reading from here. When the customer spend is 0, well, his pay is 80. So Rory gets a fixed rate of 80 euros per day, regardless of how customer sales go. Okay, even if there is no sales that day, he'll get 80 euros anyway, just for turning up, going to work. Next question. On the day that the customer spend was 500 euros, so that's where S is equals to 500 equals to 5. What was Rory's total pay on that day? Well, we just have to simply get our ruler here. And we just look up. Okay, you can draw a dotted line if you wish. Okay, until you hit the line, and then you take a reading all the way across. So let's see what it looks like, 130. So it's right between the 120 and the 130. So sorry, the 140. So let's say 130. Okay, and we just fill that into the box down below. Okay, so how much was Rory's paid in tips on that day? So let's say, so he earned this amount that day, okay? And he was going to earn 80 euros anyway. So what was his tips? Well, it's the difference between the 130 and the 80. So the difference, I mean, subtract 130, 80, subtract them, we get 50. So 50 euros was his tips that day. Okay, moving on. The point 2.5 is 105 is on the graph. Explain what is meant by, explain what this means in the context of Rory's total pay and the customer spend. So let's go back up, 2.5 and 105. So 2.5. So 2.5 is roughly here. 105 is roughly there. Okay, so we're talking here on the graph, somewhere around there. Well, I suppose what that means is if the customers, when the customer spends 250 euros, then Rory will get 105. That's what it means. Because remember, the 2.5 represents 250 euro. Okay, the 2.5, because remember, look here, customers spend in hundreds of euros, okay? Actually, I think they set it up here. The customer spend in hundreds of, here we are, up the top, okay? So that's what it means. It means when customers spend 250 euro, Rory got 105 euro that day. Okay, so he got this. Okay, now we've equations here below. We have to put a tick in the correct one, and the one I'm going to pick is this one. I'm going to explain now. If we just look up, because the y-intercept, this is the y-axis. Let's not forget, this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis, and where does it start? It starts at 80, so that's our starting point, and our slope, that line there that we have, is a slope of 10, because let's kind of zoom in here a little bit. So if you remember the rise over the run, that's the run. So that's 1 unit. Okay, 1 unit. I'm reading that from down here, 1 unit. Okay. Then what's the rise though? This bit. Well, it's from 80, that's 90 there. Okay. So it rises 10. Okay. Rises 10, and don't forget that the slope is the rise over the run. Let's do that down here in the space where they've provided us space. So 80 is the y-intercept. Intercept. And the slope is 10. Okay, and I just put another explanation here. Slope equals rise over run. If we go back up there again in the purple on the graph, the rise was 10, the run was 1. So 10 over 1, which is 10. So that's our slope. Something like that. You can put it into your own words, but something like that will do. Okay, next question. Killian has also a weekend job, and that's his pay. So they give us a formula for Killian's pay. Okay, looks to me there like he's starting out. The y-intercept is going to be 60, and the slope on this one is going to be 20. Okay, so he'll be starting on 60. That graph will start here. So he gets 60 euros just for turning up, okay? But it looks like he might earn more depending on how much the customers pay. Now they ask us here to draw the graph, and they give us a domain. Remember, the domain is the input values, okay? The x values are the input values. So we need to do a table, and we can do that down here. So we have our input values, or our x values. We have the function, 60 plus, so 60 plus, was it 20s? Yeah. Okay. So actually, let's, instead of x, I'm just very used to putting x. Let's put s. That'll be our input. Okay. And our output then will give us c, Killian. Okay, that'll be the c. Now, if you use x and y there, don't worry about it. That's fine. Okay. As long as you input the correct numbers, okay, and then do the calculations. So we just do ourselves a little table here. Okay, and Now, Casio calculators, I've shown you how to do this in class, use your calculator to make a table, for this. This is a straightforward linear graph because there's no powers or exponents over the S or anything, so it'll be straightforward enough. But anyway, they want us to draw, so this is our domain. These are input values between 0 and 5. Okay, so we're going to input 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's start with 0. So we just put in 0 like that. Then it's going to be 1. Then we're going to put in 2, and so on. Try and keep them in line, unlike I'm doing here. It's a bit messy. Apologies. You get the idea. Okay. So when the input was 0, we work out 60 plus 20 multiplied by 0. Well, 20 multiplied by 0 is 0, so you're just left with the 60. Okay. And then the next one, 60 plus 20 by 1, so that's 80. And we get 100. So these look like they're all going up in 20s. We have 1, 2, 3. So one more. Okay, don't forget to do the couples, because this will give us our points on the coordinate plane. 0, 60, that's where we start. I already have that point on the graph. 180, 2, 100, 3, 120, 4, 140. Let's go over here. 5, 160. Okay, pop all those into the graph up here. So 0, 60 is already there. 180, 2, 100, 3, 120, 4, 140, 5, 160. Get our ruler. That should give us a nice straight line. Okay. And there we go. That's Killian's graph. Okay. Now I have no questions on that. Okay, and that is question number 11.